Well, hey everyone, it's your friendly fishmonger Dan from dansfish.com, and today I have an awesome video. This is an unboxing video, but it's a very special unboxing. This is an import from Nigeria that I picked up a couple days ago. I've been trying to get these fish in for about a year. There's a lot of rare killifish in it, a lot of lamp-eye species. There's a cichlid and a few tetras, and even some catfish. So I'm super excited about showing you these guys. So without further ado, let's look at them. Here we go. Alright, so while we are time-lapsing through just me cutting open boxes to get to the fish to show them to you, let me tell you a little bit about this. So these boxes were not the best. The insulation's really thin. There's a lot of air gaps in them. And they were kind of cold when I picked them up at the airport. What do we have here? We have Nano Characin latifasciatus. So this is a tetra, a characin from Africa, from Nigeria. It's kind of reminds me of a pencil fish. It's a quick swimming little tetra, but it has kind of the elongated body and that dark stripe from the eye to the tail. There's some of them that have some really nice red color on them. I'm not sure if that's males versus females, or if that's just they've colored up a bit more than the others, and the others will color up soon. I don't know. This is a fish that there's really hardly any information out there about them. I've never seen them before in person. I don't think they're around very often at all, so I'm excited to keep them for a bit and learn about them. But peaceful little tetra, they just seem to be a typical tetra behavior, kind of a shoaling community fish. These guys are maybe about an inch. I don't think any are more than an inch, maybe a little bit. And then some of them are a little smaller than that. So I'm excited to learn about them. They're eating well, they're settling in. All these fish, though, that I'm going to be showing you in this video, they've only been out of the bag a few hours. I think that this is the next day after I let them into the tanks that we're looking at them. So it's going to be a while before they color up, settle in, and really show their true colors and things. So just understand that this is just an unboxing video. I'll make species profile videos of these guys later when they're colored up and settled in, and you can see, you know, more what they really are. But cool little tetra. I'm glad to have them. Again, never seen them before, so I'm excited to learn about them. They eat flake food, they eat pellet food, they eat frozen food, they eat live food. They're as easy to feed as any typical tetra that you would find in a pet store. So that part of it's good. They seem to be peaceful. They seem to be active. So neat little fish. I'm glad to be able to finally see what they look like in real life. So here I'm going to check the temperature just to make sure that they're about the same as my room, so I know how long I need to float them. What's that? 74.6, so that's pretty good. I keep my fish room in the mid-70s, so not bad at all. 73 and change. When I got them from the airport, because the boxes are so poorly insulated, they were in the low to mid-60s, so that was a little scary, but I mean, they did fine. We took them to my friend in Denver, Priscilla, to her house, warmed them up, changed the water, got them home. This is an amazing fish. It's Congo Poropanchax Myers eye. It's a little lamp eye, and when I say little, I mean little. Like, I'm not sure if they're even going to hit an inch. They are a neat little peaceful kind of shoaling fish. They have this bright glowing blue eye, which is one of their main features. You can see that thing from across the room. Just a neat little bright colored fish. The eye anyway. They aren't colored in yet. I'm seeing some of them develop a little yellow coloration in the anal fin and things like that, so in a couple days there might be a little more color, but the main feature on these guys is their iridescence and that bright glowing blue eye. They're starting to pick at flakes and starting to pick at pellets, but mainly what they're eating right now is baby brine shrimp and microworms. So we're switching them over though, but again, it's only been a couple days, so I recorded this footage the day after I got them home, and then today is Saturday, so there's been a few days when I've been training them over. By the way, the intro and the outro to this video were taken yesterday, Friday, so when I tell you in the intro or outro it's Friday, it was, but now it's Saturday, because the editing took so long. So this is a species that is amazing. This is Epiplatys grammi. This is from the Akayo population. As you can see, even just the next day, they've eaten. Their bellies on most of them are pretty fat. You'll see a few that haven't settled quite in, that are a little skinnier, maybe have some pinched fins, clamped up a little bit. But by and large, they started eating flakes and pellets right away. They settled right in. They're still coloring up. The males get some neat patterns on the fins. This is a male. You can tell by the pointed anal fin and the extensions on the caudal fin. But he doesn't really have his color showing yet. They get kind of a neat blue color to them, which is something you don't see a lot, with a red edge in the anal fin, kind of blue on the face. This here is a female. You can see the more rounded anal fin and less extended caudal fin. She's a monster. She's big. And then those are some juveniles up there. But super easy. These are eating everything. So settled right in. These are a couple juveniles that decided to spar, so they're going to give us a show real quick, kind of flare their gills, you know, say I'm bigger than you, display to each other, kind of thing going on here. Now, I always wait a couple weeks before I sell fish after I get an import, but these things already, like, they look ready to go. I mean, I'm not going to sell them for another, week or so, just because that's my policy. I want to make darn sure that they're settled in and will, be easy to take care of in your tanks. But, yeah, these were hardy and simple fish. I can't say enough about them. They're awesome. Now, they're a surface-dwelling fish mostly, but they will visit the lower regions on occasion. They aren't pegged at the surface like a hatchet fish and never come down. There's some down here, as you can see. But in general, they'll stay at the surface. And so, as long as you have a little corner of the tank with a floating plant or some cover for them, say, 25% of the tank or something like that has a little cover, then they'll get comfortable real quick. And then they'll start swimming around on the surface of the tank where it's not covered and be a nice little surface-dwelling fish for you, which is great because it's hard to find good surface-dwelling fish. And these guys, that's where they like to be. So, again, they'll cruise around to other areas like these ones have that I'm showing you right now, but in general, they're up at the top, and if there's a few plants up there for them to hang out in, they'll be comfortable and come out and play. Not a shy fish at all. At least not in these tanks. Alright, this is Procatopus similis. This is a species that I love, probably my favorite of the lamp eyes. Now again, they're washed out, their color isn't really coming through, but you can see a few of those males starting to, color out a little bit, getting some red and orange and things in the fins. Neat extensions on the caudal fin and the anal fin and the dorsal fin. But what doesn't pick up on camera or video, well, they're both shot in cameras, right? On pics and vids, is the iridescence. A lot of this color is this kind of beautiful blue iridescence that covers the fish. Now, in real life, they don't have a lot of that yet because they're still stressed from shipping. But when they do color up, they're amazing. They remind me of pseudomugil rainbows, like the blue eyes, Fricata and taeniatus and tenalis and Gertrude, those kinds of fish. And so anything that you would keep a little blue-eyed rainbow fish in, any setup like that, these would do great as well. Similar behavior. These guys are eating everything. Flakes, pellets, frozen, live. They came in eaten and ready to go. So hardy, beautiful little fish. All right, let's time-lapse through this change out here and get to the next box. Here we go. All right, so what are you? Oh, these are more of the Epiplatys, another bag of the Epiplatys grammi. So we already saw a tank of those, so we won't cut away. We'll just get to the next bag here. In this next bag, the next few bags, I'm pretty excited about. These are Aphyosimians. Now, if you can look, they're pretty stressed. Like a lot of these have pinched tails. They're clamped up in the bag. And I was really worried about that because often when a fish is all clamped up like that, they're pretty far gone. But I was able to turn them around. I've talked to some fish vets and things over the years, and basically what I think is going on is when a fish clamps up, their fins, they're trying to decrease their surface area so it's easier for them to keep their osmotic pressure regulated. So it takes a lot of energy for a fish living in fresh water to keep their blood salty, let's say, because they're surrounded by fresh water, which is constantly trying to flood into their system. So that takes a lot of energy. So when they're really stressed, and to make things easier on them, they clamp up their fins so there's less surface area for that osmotic pressure or regulation exchange to happen. So in these tanks, these are 75-gallon aquariums, I'll put in as much as 4 to 5 cups. You heard me right, cups of rock salt. Kind of really coarse, like the stuff you would use to melt salt off your driveway kind of looking stuff. And that works really well to help them get through that stressful time. So that's what I did, that and triple sulfa, which is an antibiotic, which treats gram-negative bacteria, which is really important in my opinion when you're acclimating fish, is what's going on here. And within a few hours of getting them in, they started to unclamp. By the next day, they're what you saw there. And today, Saturday, most of them are fully unclamped and acting normal. There's still a few that are a little bit clamped up and still working on it. See how thin this insulation is? This is not good. Especially when it's not. Usually when you get a box like this, it's like a cast foam, like it's 2 inches thick. The bottom and the sides are from the same mold, and only the lid goes on and off. So it's a real tight, airtight kind of seal that keeps the heat in. But that didn't happen this time. Luckily, we nursed everyone back to health. So yeah, but it was a little scary when I temped them and they were in the low to mid 60s. More Aphyosemians. As you can see, fins are pretty clamped up. Now, I can't tell if these are Australis or Caliurums. I got 2 species, and they're pretty similar looking, and when they're clamped up in the bag like that, I cannot tell them from that. So I'm not sure which species are in each bag. I can tell better in the aquarium. So they're all in separate aquariums. Each bag went into its own tank, so they didn't, cross-contaminate or anything like that. And then one more bag. See how clampy they are? But anyway, I was really happy that we were able to nurse them back to health. Fish are so asymptomatic, they usually don't show any signs of weakness until they're like really far gone, until they absolutely can't help it. Because if you show weakness in the wild, you get eaten up immediately. So the fact that we were able to bring them back was great. These are Aplocalyctes spolachin, an awesome lampi, one of the larger of the West African lampies. These guys get about 2 inches. The biggest males in there, which are the ones that kind of have the stripes, the vertical stripes going up and down the body and the tail fin, are about 2 inches. And there's several smaller ones too, about an inch or so. But bright orange eyes that you can see from across the room. You get a group of these in an aquarium and you just watch these orange dots swimming around, these glowing orange orbs swimming around. It's pretty cool. And they aren't showing it here, but the males get some really neat, subtle, like oranges and yellows on the fins. They're neat fish, and one that I've been trying to get since the 90s. I've tried several times, well, a couple times in the past, and I always got rice fish. So I'm glad that I actually found them this time. I'm very excited to finally have those, and they're totally peaceful. These are the Pelvicachromis taeniatus, which everyone's very excited about. This is a bag that came in rough. When I changed the water after picking them up in Denver before I headed up to Wyoming, this bag was just, the water was super murky, super strong ammonia, things like that. So I think that might be part of what's going on with their fins. Either that, or in the wild their fins get nipped, or the collection and export folks, something happened. But their fins are a little rough. But I'm happy to say that when I'm talking to you several days after this video was taken, they're settled in, they're acting normal, they're looking for food, they've recovered really quickly, and they're doing just fine. It's going to be a little while before, the fins grow back to their normal splendor, but the fish are coming around, so really hardy, really neat fish. There was one that the first day was just laying on its side gasping, and I was sure it wasn't going to make it. So I put the net in there to scoop it out, but then it kind of wiggled a little bit, and I'm like, oh, you're still alive. And so the next day, I did it again, and it swam a little bit, and I'm like, oh, you're still alive. And by the afternoon of the second day, that fish had recovered. It was upright, and it was coming around. So I think it just had real bad ammonia burn or something, probably in the gills. But it's acting normal now. I can't tell it from the other fish, so I was happy about this. Another bag that came in rough was this one. These are the glass cats, or ghost cats. As you can tell, that water was really murky, and they're a delicate fish to begin with, and so to have that murkiness, that wasn't good. But we got them out of there, got them taken care of, and did pretty well with them. Here they are in the tank. Most of them swimming around like normal, just being what you would want a glass catfish to be like. Couple of them, like that little one right there in the reflection of the camera, has kind of a bent spine. So I don't have a clue how that happened. I don't know what happens until I pick them up at the airport. But most of them are doing pretty darn good. They aren't eating flake food or pellets or anything very well. They aren't even interested in frozen very much. So right now it's mostly brine shrimp, but we'll get them switched. We're working on it. More Aplocalyctes spolachin. We already saw a tank of these, so we'll just move on to the next fish, which are these L182s. I know, not from Nigeria, but while I was in Denver, I stopped by and saw mile-high plecos, and he gave me 3 of these starry nights. So his colony is beautiful. Just the jet black with the bright white spots on them in contrast, really cool. So first time I've had plecos in my own fish room. I'm excited about them. These are Poropanchax luxophthalmus, which is often called the neon lamp eye. Now, killifish, we usually use scientific names, but the reason people sometimes call these neon lamp eye is because as you look, you'll see this kind of iridescent green stripe across the middle of the fish down the lateral line, and then another kind of iridescent green stripe across the bottom of the fish. So they have this neat green, maybe blue, kind of like blue-green aqua color maybe is the right color, I'm not sure, but iridescence on them. And keep in mind, these guys are stressed out right now. They haven't really colored up or anything yet. As of today, they're acting normal. They're eating a lot of live food. They're picking at the flakes and the pellets and stuff, and maybe eating a little bit of it, but they still aren't trained to that quite yet. But they've settled in. This is another bag that came in rough and I was worried about, but I'm happy to report there were very few losses once I got them home. There were some in Denver when I changed the water, but once I got them home, then we've been doing fine. So for the last 2 days, there haven't been any losses in here, so they're steadying out and getting acclimated. So I'm really excited to finally have these. This is another fish that I've seen pictures of and never been able to actually see in person. So it is great to have them. These are a little bigger. These are maybe an inch or so, maybe a little over an inch, so a little bigger than the Congo Panchax Myers eye. But neat little lamp eye, bright glowing eyes, which I'm not sure are showing up on the camera very well. Iridescence and things like that tend to not show on camera very well at all, but neat fish that I'm thrilled to finally have. Last bag here is another bag of the Congo Panchax Myers eye, little lamp eye with bright blue eyes that we saw earlier on in the video. So we're not going to cut away to them, but yeah, got 2 bags of them. So there's 2 tanks of them going, and they're doing great, by the way. They've filled out, their bellies are nice and fat now. They weren't, none of these fish were really fat and happy when you saw them on this video, but I've had a few days since I took this footage to work on them, and I'm happy to say that everyone's kind of doing fine. All right, that was just a quick time lapse of dumping fish out of bags into nets. I'm going to break down one of these boxes just so that you can see kind of what this situation was that they came in. So they lined the box with newspaper, which is good, because that way if there's any condensation or moisture leaking out or anything like that, it soaks it up and doesn't destroy all the other boxes in the airplane's cargo hold. So I have some nice Nigerian newspaper reading here. I can learn all about the world of football, or soccer for those of you that have never left the United States. These are 2 cold packs that they put in there before they left Nigeria. Each box had 2 cold packs in it. So those would have been, I assume, frozen and then put in there because it's hot in Nigeria. So, if the box sits out in the sun, on the tarmac or something, it could overheat. So they put cool packs in there, which makes sense on their end, but then they're pretty cold when they got here. And these liners, like I can just stick my fingers in there, no problem. Like they weren't tight in there or anything. So I was pretty unhappy with that part of it. All right, that's the unboxing from Nigeria. I have another order coming in on Sunday. Today's Friday, so in like 2 days that'll come in. So I'll go pick up a bunch more fish and do another unboxing of those. That's going to come into the Billings Airport about midnight on Sunday. And of course, a snowstorm is scheduled. So what would normally be about a 4-hour trip there and back, plus whatever time at the airport, will now become an 8-hour trip there and back, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be horrendous. But the fish that are coming in Sunday are awesome. I can't wait to show them to you. Until then, I'll see you around. Bye-bye.